It's morning in Hawaii too. We can pretend. Did you like the New Hampshire weather that we're all enjoying? Monday night I called John at like 9 o'clock saying, "So what's the weather going to be like in Washington? Should I bring my overcoat?" Because, well, it'll be 40s, 50s, but you should bring your coat anyways. The plane lands and I'm in the middle of a DC style blizzard, and I was like, "Thanks, John. I'm glad I brought my winter coat." And I guess it's continuing. It's still snowing out there now. So enjoy. It usually paralyzes the city. For those of you who were here 4 years ago, and we had that big Snowmageddon, it was one of those things. And a number of us from the ASDC and the DNC were stuck here at this very hotel for days and days, which was fine until they ran out of food. And so I put on my New England boots and climbed over the snow and went to CVS, and we enjoyed CVS food for a day or two, which was fine with me. So this is our very first kickoff event over the next 4 days. We have a lot of really remarkable speakers. For those of you who noticed in the email, Vice President Biden will be joining us at the ASDC meeting tomorrow morning in this very room, right? Yes. And then we have President Obama coming on Friday to the full DNC. So that is quite exciting. The amount of caucuses and meetings and whatnot. And just a reminder, even if you're not a specific member of a caucus, you can always sit in on them. Sometimes people think that they aren't being invited. You should always feel free or sit in on the rules and bylaws or the executive committee or anything that our meetings are all open, and you shouldn't ever feel that you can't go in and sit in and listen. So that's what I think is really going to be exciting about the next couple of days, because we're really going to be touching on so much. But really the most important is today's trainings. We are, as many of you know, we have transformed a lot of the work of the ASDC over the past year to really emphasize trainings. And before I go another step further, let's everyone give a big, huge round of applause of our Director of Training, Jonae, Wartel. Phenomenal job. It is incredibly important as we face the challenges as state parties over the coming decades, having the right tools as technology changes, as the financial donation restrictions and non-restrictions change, for us to stay effective, for us to stay relevant. It's important for us to stay out in front of all of the skills and trainings that are out there. So we have an important job to do in the coming year, and then a very important job to do in 2016 as well. This is really, I think, the beginning of that entire process. The ASDC staff, John Bisignano's here, our executive director, and Amy Littleton is at the front desk, I believe. And for those of you who have been asking, Geneva is not going to be with us, but if you do want to send a note to her, you can give it to anyone on the staff. We went out to visit her yesterday, but the passing of her husband is obviously been, they were married 50 years, and they were an incredible couple and relationship, and she just appreciates hearing from everyone. So if you want to just jot a note, put it in an envelope, and give it to anyone on the staff, and we'll get it to Geneva. Ann Fishman will be joining us in and out throughout the next couple of days as well, and always give her a good greeting. I just want to add one thing. Jonae is phenomenal, and as much direction or suggestions on what skills trainings you would like to receive, or if you have a commentary on what level or what sort of information, what could be done better. Because if we're not doing the very best and giving you the right tools, then we're not going to succeed in 2014 or beyond. So please always feel free. If there's ever been a person that likes feedback, it's Jonae. And we will organize. How many of you have gone on at least once for one of the weekly webinars that she puts together? That is phenomenal. I look forward every Thursday night to get the update on how many of you all are on there. And the amount of folks that are that do sign up and participate in the weekly webinars are just terrific, and it really makes, I think, the staff feel very much appreciated that they are providing this sort of tools. But there's always room for improvement. Please feel free to let us know if there are additional things that you'd like us to do the trainings on, whether they're in person at our meetings or our webinars. We are going to have a number of training sessions at our meeting coming up in June. Everyone's coming, Annapolis, first weekend in June, right? Yes? Excited? Okay. So as we put together that schedule, it's all going to be about what it is that you think that you'd like us to put trainings together. So thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am? What time our meeting tomorrow morning starts? 9:30? 9:30. See how I always check without saying. Things change here a lot. So just want to thank everybody for coming. Please go home with the information that you have. Share it with other people. It is important that we have as many folks out there on the ground with as many skills as possible, because that's really the only way we're ever going to be successful against the Koch brothers and all of the billions that are going to be spent against us in the coming years. So thanks for being here, and on with the show. Here we go, Jonae.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, President Buckley. So we're going to dive into the agenda, talking a little bit about what we'll cover in today's training. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone received a packet when they registered that has all the documents for this weekend, correct? Show of hands, head nods. Fantastic. Great. So we want to make sure that you have that information, because that'll outline all of the training presentations for today, as well as your biographies for the trainers, so you know the folks that are in front of you. And then you'll get some additional information as we go throughout the training sessions this afternoon. So if there's a piece of information that you're missing or information that you need, please feel free to peg a staff member, and we'll make sure that you get additional information. So it wouldn't be a progressive training if we did not ask that you use your social media tools and leverage that amazing social media audience that you have to follow our training today. You can tweet at DemChairs, which is the association. You can tweet at me if you'd like. And you can use the hashtag ASDC_DC if you would want to follow some bits of information or share some great things that you're learning in today's training. So please do feel free to use the social media at your disposal. So if you would pull out your training agenda that you have, it should be a one-pager. It's got little gray headings. I just want to go over some of the sections today and answer any questions before I turn it over to our first presenter, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So we're beginning our kickoff now, going through the agenda. We'll have a communications update here shortly by Lily Adams. We'll also, after that time, break out. And the way that the breakouts will be structured, if you are a chair or a vice chair, you will remain in this room. This is where your training will be, beginning at 1 p.m. If you are a executive director or a state party staff that's joined us, you'll actually move to the South Americans room, which is right around the corner. We'll have wayfinders for you, so it's not far away, but we'll have folks that make sure that you get there. And your training will also begin at 1 p.m. So just to let you know how the breakouts will be structured, chairs and vice chairs, you'll remain here in this room. Executive directors and state party staff, you all will transition to South Americans room. I think we're good on that one. The media training that we'll have today, and Lily will talk a little bit about this, but we're super excited to have Anita Dunn here with us, and many of you know her, but she's an amazing communications professional, former White House communications director, and she is going to deliver an amazing training on media, kind of some do's and don'ts and best practices. Our state party staff will, at the 1 p.m. Training mark, be going through a three-part session with our digital organizing staff. So they're doing everything from high-level strategy to actually what the application looks like for many of your states in your digital program. So that's going to be a really great session led by our DNC digital team. The second part of the chairs and vice chairs section, so you'll have that 1 to 3 mark with Anita, but then you'll also have a second piece of the day that begins after the 3 p.m. break, where we'll do fundraising training with Taryn Rosenkrantz from New Blue Interactive. So you'll have a 2-part day, chairs and vice chairs in this room, but you'll have a marathon, a mini marathon day for the EDs and state party staff. You'll remain in that same room throughout the 3 sections. There will be a break, as I said, at 3 p.m., so we won't hold you hostage. We'll let you go get something to drink and some eats if you need to. And then we'll wrap up the day here in this room. You'll wrap the day, chairs and vice chairs, with Taryn in your fundraising training. EDs and state party staff, you all will have an opportunity between 3 and 5 p.m. to have what we're calling digital office hours. So you'll actually be able to meet one-on-one with digital staff, our digital director, our senior graphic designer, as well as our deputy digital director, and they'll take all kinds of questions, and if you want them to work on a particular project with you or show you how X, Y, and Z works, and they'll give you more instructions on your office hours and what you should look to get support from during that time. So we'll wrap at 5 p.m., and we'll still have folks that are around if you have questions. I know some of the presenters can stay and chat with you after 5, but they'll also share contact information. We'll have their training slides as well as their PowerPoint presentation, Prezi, as we're calling it, kind of the new PowerPoint. We'll have those available for you, so don't fret if you don't get to ask every question of them. Does anybody have questions about the schedule? Great. So if you are a chair or vice chair, where are you going? Wonderful, you're remaining in this room. And if you are an ED or a state party staff, where are you going? South Americans, fantastic. And again, we'll have breaks and things throughout throughout the middle of the day, so that you'll be able to, check email and do those things that you need to do. But that's a slight revision from the original schedule that was printed. We had a little bit of an adjustment with presenters, so I just wanted to bring you up to speed that this will be the structure of the day. And so I will now turn it over to Lily Adams, our DNC Deputy Communications Director, who will give us a brief messaging update. Lily?
Hey. Oh, there you go. My own slide. Can you guys hear me? Do I need this? Probably helpful. Okay, all right. So we'll keep it. So I'm going to give you just sort of a sense of what you're going to hear from the communications department over the next couple of days. You're going to see more of us than I'm sure any of you would like or is healthy. You will hear from Mo, and I'm going to try to not steal his thunder, just about sort of the programs that we're unveiling in the next kind of 2 days over the course of this meeting. I know many of you probably saw that we unveiled Project Ivy on Monday, which has to do a lot with data and technology. So there'll be folks that go take a deep dive with you into that. So I won't get into the nitty-gritty of the programmatics on what we're talking about this week during the meeting. But I will say that Mo's excited to join you guys at your meeting and kind of give you guys a status update on where we are for messaging for the 2014 cycle. What I'm going to do today, again, since Anita will come in, and Anita, for those of you who don't know her, is the best in the business for media training. So this is, anyone would probably kill a member of their family to get a media training with Anita Dunn, who is a Democrat. So this is great that she's coming. So I'll just talk to you a little bit about the staff at the communications shop at the DNC, what we've done with you guys over the last couple of months, what we're hoping to do with you guys for the remainder of the 2014 cycle and even beyond that. So again, some of this may be new to some of you, some of this may be old, but I think everyone can usually use a refresher. So just to give you themes of this week, what we're going to be talking about a lot and with all these programs is sort of empowering people, including people, and expanding opportunity to people. So that will run through our policies. For instance, we believe that everyone should be able to marry whoever they want, whenever they want. But it'll also go down to our tactics. And a lot of that has to do with state parties. A lot of it has to do with empowering state parties and expanding the sort of bandwidth of state parties to do whatever they need and is most helpful to them in their state. We've got a national press team who's not here with us today that includes Mike Zinn, Mo Alethi, and myself, who are running sort of the national track messaging program. But then we've got our regionals who are in the back. 3 of the 4 are here. Stand up. They can't see you. Jason Pitt, then Ian Sams, and Pili Tobar. So Jason has the Midwest. Raise your hand. There you go. Ian's got the eastern, sort of mid-Atlantic part of the country, and Peely's got the west. Kiera Pasante is not here. I think many of you have met her. She's got the south. And Peely also does all of our Spanish language media as well. So they are your best points of contact. I'm sure all of you have either spoken with them on the phone or by email. They sort of run our regional program. You guys can sit down. You don't have to stand up the whole time. And so they are also on our weekly call. So how many of you get on the weekly call, which is on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern? Yeah, exactly. All right. I know. It's hard we tried to move the time a little bit. So at 1 p.m., for those of you who don't know, 1 p.m. every Monday, we probably have a call that lasts anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes just to give a brief update on where the DNC is messaging for the week. We usually give some guidance on what the president's doing. We usually give some guidance on what the vice president's doing. I highly recommend getting on, and not just because I lead them, but because I think that it is helpful to kind of get on the same page. So anything that you guys, for those of you who have gotten on the calls before, let me know if there are other things you want us to cover. And if you haven't, try it out. I swear it doesn't take long, but I think it's worth it. So that's one thing at 1 p.m. on Mondays that is just sort of a component of information that we provide for you. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, and it comes, I think it technically comes from my name, although it's a robot that sends the email somewhere. Yeah. But if you're not getting those emails, let me know, and I will make sure that Jonae and I can work to make sure you're on those emails. So to just talk a little bit about what we do, we work with state parties to basically accomplish their goals for the next election cycle. It's pretty broad, but I brought a little bit of a sort of example. We use our chair and our surrogates to accomplish messaging goals for you guys. We use traditional press means, and we also use a lot of digital press, graphics, infographics, videos, things like that. We've worked with a lot of you over the last couple of months, but in terms of sending our chair places and sending surrogates places, is the Iowa chair here? No? Okay. In Iowa, we've sent Mayor Ryback there to bracket Ted Cruz when he came to town. We have also done a fair amount of work there against Sam Brown, against the governor there, who is also up for re-election. We've worked with folks to help on that Senate race that's coming up. We have come up with a graphic when Ted Cruz shut down the government to talk about how much it cost Iowa families. That was able to sort of localize the shutdown message for Iowa reporters. In Wisconsin, we came up with a Where's Walker graphic for you guys when he was traveling around the country and not doing his job in Wisconsin. And for the last week, we've made his life slightly more difficult over the emails that have shown some illegal activity in his office. In Michigan, the chair went out to go open up an office, to discuss the importance of 2014 and talk about sort of Democrats' commitment to the LGBT community. In Ohio, the chair went and did a call with Congressman Tim Ryan on the minimum wage. We worked and submitted op-eds including on the minimum wage, including some in New Mexico. So we do a whole host of different things. There's no one-size-fits-all for how we get out our message. A lot of what we do on the Monday calls is explain, this is the message for the week. We'd love to tailor it to your states. Obviously, Hawaii is different than Michigan, is different than Iowa, is different than California. But we're always looking for ways that we can work with you to, again, start to talk about some of the issues that are playing in the news that week. So I hope that you guys will, again, talk to the regionals, make sure that you get to know them. We're always open to new ideas. I've been at the DNC since September, so I'm relatively new. But there's really nothing we won't try, pretty much. And I think that we've had some good success at kind of diversifying products to make sure that we get press coverage for what's helpful for you guys. In terms of the media training, so you guys Anita will come just to give you kind of a sense of what's going to happen here. I think she'll come and give you a little bit of best practices, just kind of the regular do's and don'ts, rules of the road. But she'll also probably bring up a couple of volunteers and do some mock interviews to show you, again, whoever's willing, what is a good way to, from everything from posture to how long your answers should be to a question to rejecting, rejecting a question based on its premise or what have you. So it should be really exciting. We do some media trainings too when you come to DC. If you're coming to DC soon, I know we've got a couple that are scheduled during the meeting with a couple of chairs, but if you're coming to DC soon, we'd be happy to take you down in the studio and have Mo or myself or regional give you a quick media training. We'll send you the video with some, some sort of ideas and critiques and what have you. And I think it'll be very helpful going forward, especially if you're planning to do a lot of TV. And that goes the same for communications directors. If they're coming to DC, we'd be happy to sit down with them as well. So I think with that, if any of you guys have any questions, you can ask them now, or I can leave you alone. You guys are quiet today. Yes, ma'am. Oh, good. Yeah. So that's a good flag. We can do a wrap-up email. I'd prefer that it's not a substitute for folks getting on the call, but I definitely realize that 1 p.m. doesn't always work for everyone, but I think that's something we can do. Yeah, that's no problem. Anybody else? Any communications issues you're having? No? Okay. You guys good? All right, thanks.
Can we have a hand for Lily, please? Wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and begin the transition into the next leg of our training. We've all went through the agenda, but are there any additional questions just regarding the breakdown, the times, the resources, et cetera? Okay, fantastic. So just want to give you a few last reminders. Do follow us on social media. I'd love to, for folks who are not here with us, it would be really great for them to know the little tidbits of information that you're learning in the training. So please do tweet using the @DemChairs, which is the ASDC's Twitter handle, or you can tweet hashtag ASDC_DC, which is our meeting location. You'll have evaluations in each of your designated training rooms, so you'll have them in here and you'll have them also in the South Americans room. As Chairman Buckley mentioned earlier, we really do thrive, our program really does thrive on your feedback, so the many things that you email me or that you inbox me in any way and let me know you'd like to see with trainings, we do try and incorporate that and really make our training program the best that it can be. So when you get those evaluations, please take some time to just be thoughtful about some of the things that you'd like to see, whether it's more information on the same topic or new topics, subtopics, etc. So please do fill that out. You'll get that at the beginning of your training section, and so you'll have time to work through that as time goes on. We'll have bins to collect them in the back, in the training table, kind of the registration table. It's doubling as both. So please do leave those with us before you leave. Yes? Sure. The three social media kind of pitches for the day, you can tweet @DEMCHAIRS, DemChairs, or you can tweet at me, even though I won't be doing formal training. So unless you just want me to know something, I don't know. And you can tweet just any general information using the hashtag ASDC_DC, as that is our meeting for this time. Tried to make it just ASDCDC, but then I thought that would be a little bit confusing for people, so we put a little bit of an underscore there. Great. Well, having said that, we are ready for our breakout sessions. And so what is our time check for the moment? 12:44, great. 12:44/12:45. So we have until 1 o'clock when our sessions begin. If you need to grab some coffee, grab some water, get some information from the registration table. We really do want to keep on time with the training as we want to end on time. So please, by 1 p.m. sharp, please be back in your seats either here or in the South Americans room to make sure that we start exactly at 1 o'clock. There'll be a few Wayfinder volunteers from the registration table that'll help you to get to the South Americans room if you're an ED or a state party staff. And we're looking forward to a great day of training. Thanks, everyone.